Namaste, viewers. Welcome to Jaipur Dialogue USA. I'm Vibhuti Jha here. Before I start, wanted to request you please like, subscribe, and support our channel. Give your feedback, and we value your feedback. We read them. I particularly read them. Let's begin today. Today, I wanted to talk to you about something that is dominating the American college campuses, which has a very direct impact for India and Indian students. I'm calling it Hamas's capturing and dominating the American Ivy League schools and colleges campuses. You may have heard about that. These days, fortunately, news and views travel through video and expressions of frustration and disappointment are shared across social media and social media. Sorry, my bad. The mic was stopped. So we start. Let's start again. I'm doing it for 140 onwards. Namaste, viewers. Welcome to Jaipur Dialogue USA, and I'm Vibhuti Jha. Before I begin, wanted to request you, please like, subscribe, and support our channel. और हमें अपना feedback देते रहिए, because that is important. I read them and I value them. Let's get going. Today I want to talk about the capture and, infiltration, or shall I put it the other way around, infiltration and capture of American college campuses throughout the country. The famous statement uttered after October 7 attack in Israel, from river to the sea, Palestine would be free. That slogan is ringing rapidly in various college campuses in America. Ivy Leagues are the actual target. The question is very important here. How did this all happen? Was it just an accident, or was it a deliberate play? Ladies and gentlemen, this has implications for Indian parents and Indian students coming to America. You have heard about it, that in Columbia University, my native town, where the campus is the lawn where, they are camped there. There is a particular movement here. You will see that the pattern is the same countrywide, whether it's in California, whether it's in Boston, whether it is in New York or Austin, Texas, everywhere, the pattern is the same. Slogans are the same. There is an open defiance in the name of freedom of speech. So much so that President Biden himself, while he condemned anti-Semitism, he also said people must know about Palestinians. There is an equivalence drawn here. These are very important moments. The local New York Congress lady, AOC, mentioned, along in Mr. President's company, that these are peaceful protesters. Whereas New York City Mayor himself said that these protests are no longer peaceful, but they are violent because they hit the policemen with crash helmets with the chairs and cracked the helmet. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very tricky issue. I have said this before, and I'll say it again. Freedom has become the fault line of democracy, where everybody who doesn't grant you freedom, in Islamic theology, for example, there is a Sharia law that drives their conduct. I have nothing against that. But my problem is when they do not extend you the same freedom of speech if you were to question some of the tenets of the Sharia, then you are branded as phobic. So there is an unequal level, unequal playing field, which is absolutely disgusting and disappointing both. Because what is happening right now in this process is that you're playing with your hands tied behind your back, one hand tied behind your back. So the campus agitation that is happening is intended to drive the US administration to conduct a foreign policy in a particular way. Now, you may have your own opinion about US foreign policy with reference to Ukraine, with reference to Indo Pacific, with reference to Israel, but everything related to Islam has to be treated differently. And that's a sad thing. Which is because, why I say it is a sad thing, because it pits people against that faith. And that becomes a problem. So, in the interest of maintaining communal harmony, the rules of law must apply to everybody equally. Equally. Remember, people are talking about equity and equality, but my religion is different than your religion. There is no equity or equality there. That's what is important. The other element that comes about is why Ivy League colleges alone. So I had as somebody shared with me a rather remarkable information. And that information is that, how the universities are funded. If you haven't seen this data, then you must know this. Let's put it this way. The American universities are receiving huge amounts of money from Middle East countries. And you will be rather impressed, amazed, shocked, or disappointed, depending on your proclivity of thought, that Qatar has given, my goodness, $3.2 billion to American universities. China, 1.7 billion. Saudi Arabia, 1.4 billion. UAE, $635 million. Kuwait, $338 million. Russia, $141 million. Turkey, $81 million. Iraq, guess what? Iraq, where the most of the money goes from the US or with the oil earnings, $45 million. Lebanon, $21 million. Pakistan, $6 million. Venezuela, $4 million. Syria, $1.3 million. Palestinian Authority, $1 million. This is the kind of contribution that comes to American universities from these places. It's serious. It's very serious because I remember during 2016, New York Times had virtually gone bankrupt. Because that was a time there was a rather interesting intersection of news based on news and print media and news delivered through digital media and the social media. People were not reading newspapers. So newspapers began to lose significant ad revenue and they were running into trouble. And then suddenly, if you notice, all the New York Times, Washington Post, their entire orientation of news reporting changed. Very interesting thing. They became remarkably pro-Islamic, pro-Chinese, running down everything Indian, Hindu, and the Christian, and challenging the concept of democracy in more ways than one. There was a very nice statement in a movie, Lethal Weapon 4. Sometimes movies tell you the truth in a very remarkable way. In Lethal Weapon 4, the Chinese villain makes a statement when they talked about the rule of law. He says, America is a country of laws. Laws are made by men, and men can be managed. Pay that attention. This is something important. When your core strength of laws begins to get abused in the name of freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom of whatever to do, that becomes a problem. There is a line, there is a thing called in Ramayana, Lakshmanji tells Sita Devi not to cross a line. That particular statement has been used in movie Enter the Dragon. When the hero of the movie, who is a criminal in his own way, is told by their Chinese counterpart that this is how we treat our enemies who are boiled alive in oil and murdered, he says, there is a line I won't go beyond. There is perhaps a need to draw a line that people can't go beyond. It's important. So from river to the sea, the Palestinian Hamas has captured the entire domestic political narrative including threatening the US president in Michigan and other areas that we will not let you win the election. They created the nota type of variety uncommitted in the primary elections of the Democratic Party. There is an implication of that. There is an impact of this behavior on you and I, the Hindus and Indians in this camp on these campuses. So when Indian parents and Indian students are paying more than $90,000 per year for a 4-year undergrad education in American universities, and a lot of them come to the Ivies, where all this trash is happening right now. You know one thing for sure. What do you see that? Bear that in mind. Hamas doctrine has captured the campuses. This is not going to change. That methodology is not going to change. So tomorrow, if a Hindu student in the campus, his hostel room, lights an agarbatti and a diya and says Om Jai Jagdish Hare Arti, or does a puja to Bhagwan Ram or Bhagwan Ganesh or Bhagwan Shiva, will Hamas and its people come to you to say that you are doing an anti Islamic chant? Will they tell you to stop doing that because it violates or affects them? Definitely wrongfully, because our faith is not against anybody, it's for our own awakening. So we pray to our Bhagwans for our own awakening, our own astha. We don't tell our Bhagwan, give me the strength to go and kill somebody else. Ladies and gentlemen, the parents of Indian students and Indian students who are coming here, you better prepare when you are coming here, because you will be facing this environment there, here on the campuses, because your hostel mate, who is just in case happens to be of a religion not belonging to yours and hates your religion, will talk about it. They will not allow you religious freedom. On the contrary, they will compel you to acknowledge and accept their way of doing things. That's the message that I'm capturing here. So the imagination of the freedoms of the campuses, which was known once upon a time, that students are the absolutely new, innocent minds, or learning mind will have a sense of inquiry of learning. You are no longer going to be learning. You are going to be told this is right and this is wrong. This is what you will have to obey. So when you put your $90,000 per year only for tuition and college, think about how you will be conducted and treated as a social animal, social being, or on the campus of this kind of a behavior. That's where one needs to stand up to, because I know for sure. I've said this before and I'll say it again as a warning. After the Jews, after the anti Semitism that is going on here, you will find that there will be an attack on us, because we are the next target of the enemies of Hindus, enemies of India. It's going on in the name of caste, in the name of swastik, in the name of our Murti Puja. We are being attacked. There is a line drawn here where we are the victims, but we do not know how to respond. Therefore, this particular thing, from river to the ocean, Palestine will be free, is coming against every single minority that is there in America. It's time for you and us to become awakened and assert, act, and question the very validity of the freedom of speech which is targeted to hurt you. With these words, I will say, Satyame Vijayate, and for truth to triumph, you got to stand up for it and fight for it. Thank you.